Okay, this is very important that it says C++ is case sensitive. That means our uppercase and lowercase characters are different from each other. Whenever you are writing main starting with capital M, it is not the same as main starting with small m or lowercase m. So you need to be very careful about using the uppercase and the lowercase inside your program, because they are totally different from each other. And another important thing is when you are opening a bracket, you need to end it with the same type of the bracket. Okay, when you are opening it, you need to have the ending point of it, and vice versa. When you have got an end bracket, you need to have it is starting point. Okay, we are talking about variables. And what is a variable? A variable is a location inside the memory or the RAM of your computer which holds a piece of data. A variable is something that holds a data. It is a particular thing with a particular name that holds a piece of data. So the data may be an integer data, or a double data, or a string data, or character, or stuff like that. But this is very important. You can't use any variable if you haven't defined it. You need to define a variable, then it can be used, it can be initialized or stuff like that. For example, this is an example of variable definition. You are saying double num1, and we are going to write down a semicolon. That means this num1 is the name of the variable, and this double is the type of the variable. Okay, we've got num1, which its type is double, which holds a double data. We will know what is double data in the upcoming slides. Here inside a program, we've got double num1 num2 sum. So these all together can be called as a one statement. They are separated by comma. So for example, we are saying double num1 num2 num3. So we have those three variables with their type are is double. So num1 equals 5, comma num2 comma num comma sum, and then we have declared num2. Now we are using it, and you can declare and initialize it at the same time. But here we are initializing it, we are giving it a data, but we are not writing down double here. Why? Because we have already named it as double, or we have already indicated or specified its type, which is a double type, and we are saying num2 equals to 12, then sum equals to num1 and num2. This is how you declare a variable. Okay, double num1 comma num2 comma sum. So those variables which are at the same type can be combined using commas, and by the end of the statement you need to use semicolon. Okay, this is a variable. So each variable has a type and a name. For example, the name of this variable is letter, and the type of it is character. So if you want to define a character variable, you need to use char. This is inside the C++ programming language. So we know that a variable is a reference of a location inside the RAM of your computer, and we need to know every variable must be defined before it can be used. And even when you are giving this variable a piece of data, but in the lines of your program, in the other other lines or other statements of your program, you can change the data inside that variable. This is very important. Each variable has a type and has a name, and inside this variable there is some data. Okay, so as we said, when we are giving a variable a data, we can change it. But how to change it, and what happens when you are changing? For example, you are saying int age. That means age is a variable which its type is integer, and we are going to use it. We are going to give this age variable a data. So we are saying age equals to 17, okay, and we are writing a comment for it. And we are saying cout age, so we are displaying age. We are going to talk about cout in the upcoming slides. And then we are saying age equals to 18. Now age is 18, but what happens to that 17? It is overwritten. This 18 overwrites this one. The data inside age variable is replaced by this 18. Okay, it was 17, but now we gave it 18, so it is becoming 18. Cout age, now the program displays 18, not 17. The 17 has been overwritten. Okay, this is an example of variable. So we've got a comment: include iostream using namespace std. This is the main function. Now we are saying int number. That means we are declaring a variable which its name is number. And what is the type of this variable? The type of it is integer. So we declare the variable. Now we can use it. Number equals to 5, and we know that we need to write down semicolon after the end of each statement. So we are saying cout, the number is, the value in number is, so this two angle brackets number and then int l. We are going to learn about those things, and you should know that anything between double quotations is going to be shown as it is written, and then we are returning 0. So what is the output of the program? The value in number is, and then the variable. You are writing down the variable. So when you write down the variable, it shows, or it prints the value inside the variable, which is 5. So the output of the program is going to be like, the value in number is 5. Okay, we are going to talk about identifiers. So what is an identifier? An identifier is a programmer chosen name. Okay, it is a programmer chosen name in order to represent a part or some part of your program, like variables, like functions, and those kind of things. So, and it says the name should indicate the use of the identifier. What does that mean? You need to use a proper name. You should use a proper name in order, to not make trouble for you in the future. You need to give the variable or the functions a proper name. For example, when you are calculating the area of a rectangle, you need to declare two variables, which are the height and the width. It is better to write down int height, int width, or sorry, not width, int width, in order to make our program much clearer. We can say int, for example, x, int y, but it is better to write down integer x and integer integer height, or an integer with an integer area, in order to calculate the area of the rectangle. So you should use a good name for your variables. And even when you are writing a function in order to add two numbers, so it is better to write down to name your function as addition, not function x, so you can't understand it. Or if someone reads your code, he or she doesn't understand what do you mean by x or stuff like that. And you can't use C++ keywords as identifier. For example, you can't say you can't name a variable as main, main, main in lowercase letters. You can't use namespace or those kind of things. You need to use other words, and it must begin with alphabet characters, or slash followed by alphabet or numeric, or slash dot alpha, maybe uppercase or lowercase. It is your choice if you are using uppercase or lowercase. For example, here we've got a variable double num1. This is a variable, and these are the other variables: double num1, num2, sum. And here some example which one is valid. This one is valid, this one is valid, this one and this one is not valid, and this one is valid as well. So you can write down why it's invalid.